What's up, everybody? So I just got over here to Gateway Performance. Not sure if you guys know who they are, but if you don't know who they are, you need to go check them out. You might recognize Lonny's awesome Ranger. Let's see if I can go find Jason and Lonny. They were just out here. What's up, Jace?
What's happening, man?
Man, I was trying to tell them that if they don't know who you guys are, they need to look you up.
Look us up, man.
So what do we got out here?
Well, this is kind of our little bit of a boneyard here. This is my next project, a highboy. We're gonna try some different things on it. I want to do a monoleaf with a king shock. We're gonna put either a Coyote in it or the 7.3, something like that. Make a daily driver basically for me. And then we got some other parts trucks back there, crew cab.
See 'em.
Yeah, man.
Let's go walk over there.
We need to go look at them.
Hell yeah. When everybody's looking for bump sides, now we know where they were all at.
We've been buying up as many as we could. So this is a great truck. It's got 20,000 miles on it.
Wow.
They parked it. It was a farm truck, so it just got used around the farm. A tree grew up and wound up denting us. That all happened from a tree.
Wow. That's great.
So place your door on it. The bed is the one thing that's just amazing on this truck. Bed isn't rusted out. It's a really nice shaped bed. And then this is my other highboy that we're working on. Just we bought this one and that one at the same time, and then a chassis over there. We're all highboys, and we have one more chassis sitting down at the guy's place that we're trying to figure out how to get.
Man, I love the pinstriping on that thing.
Yeah, looks good.
That is great.
This one's really rough though. It's pretty rusted. Bed's beat up.
Ooh, that bench seat. Hell yeah. They do a good slam.
It's got to slam her really hard.
That's what I always try to say. Oh, there he is.
What's up, everybody?
You guys know Lonny? So, if you don't know him, you might know some of the stuff that he's done. He was one of the guys that piloted Bigfoot. I don't remember exactly which ones, but I'm sure he definitely does. So,
well, I had the awesome privilege to get to crush cars in Bigfoot #1. Not a lot of people can say they did that. I drove #2 and #3 as ride trucks. The first race truck I got in was Bigfoot #4, which is very historic truck, very iconic truck, and we actually have it sitting inside the shop here. We're restoring it for the current owner. And then I drove Bigfoot 8. I did a little bit of time in Bigfoot 9. In Bigfoot 9, doing a sumo wrestling with Hulk Hogan and the Giant. Never raced that truck though, but then spent most of my time in Bigfoot 10, and the last truck that I drove was Bigfoot 11. Would love to drive one of their new ones. I think the new stuff is just amazing, so that'd be a lot of fun. But I think most of you guys have seen my 69 little hot rod pickup, and then this is going to be my next project.
I like it.
I'll end up making a short bed, but I want this to basically be a daily. Get rid of the late model truck and just have an awesome driving, cool ass daily crew cab.
Hell yeah. Talking about your 69, can we go walk over there?
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
I showed him a little peek of it, but not too much of it. This yellow one's pretty cherry too.
I actually just sold that to a guy. It's got a fantastic ginger interior in it.
Nice.
Beautiful interior.
Oh. One of my favorite bump sides. So now everybody else is going to be able to see why it's one of my favorites.
So this was a project that basically snowballed on me. I wanted one of these body style trucks for a long time. I actually had one back in the early 90s, but never really got it roadworthy. That's kind of when we got into monster trucks, so I ended up getting rid of it. Bought this not too far from my home here, and it was just supposed to be, originally I was wanting to build a patinaed truck so that I could drive it all the time. Turned out to be a really rust bucket, but it was $400. It was a quarter mile from the house, so I picked it up. It was kind of a night weekend project when guys would come out and give me a hand, and so it was dragging on forever, and I basically said, I need to get a deadline on this thing. I need to get it finished, so if I make it a SEMA project, maybe I can get some help on it as far as some cool parts. and we did. We got a lot of support. Mike Curtis from Curtis Speed Equipment built the wheels for us. Bear Brakes donated all the brakes, which this thing stops on a dime. It's amazing. We got a Ford Performance crate engine in here. Modern Driveline helped out with the 6-speed transmission. The beautiful paint from the bare metal up was donated by Exalta. I did it tilt column. We got cruise control in here. Badass Recaro seats. We actually got one of the very first vintage air systems that works flawlessly in this thing. It'll run you out of it. I know I'm forgetting people. Classic Instruments did a one-off gauge cluster for me. Too many to mention, but JRI helped out with shocks. We actually designed a 3-link system like we run in our Mustangs. And as I was putting this thing together, again, it was just something that was going to just be for me. And I started looking at the trend of these trucks, and I saw that it was really taking off, but there wasn't a lot of support and love out there for them. So we ended up creating a 3-link package for, right now we're covering 65 to 79, and within the next few weeks we will actually be introducing our brand new 57 to 64 chassis 3-link, as well as Crown Vic installation kit for those years.
Awesome.
We have the installation kit for the bumps and the dents already for Crown Vic. We have a coilover conversion kit for all of them. Let's take a peek under the hood here.
Hell yeah. Ooh, baby. That's not a Coyote motor. It's like a Coyote motor.
It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different.
What exactly is it?
This is the 5.2 XS. It never came in a car. It is strictly a hand-built crate engine from Ford. They're 580 horse out of the box. It's basically like the 5.2 Voodoo engine, but it has a cross-plane crank in it. It does not have the flat plane, so we don't have to worry about any of the vibrations and the issues that the 350s are having. But just fantastic, runs amazing. We designed with Performance Rod and Custom. We designed a radiator to work with these trucks and the Coyote engines that fit in there beautifully. JLT hooked us up with the cold air kit. Like we said, the new Bear Remaster master cylinder works fantastic on these trucks.
Man, this thing is stunning.
It's just a ton of fun. BF Goodrich Michelin tires. We primarily work with BF Goodrich, but unfortunately we could not come up with a size combination in the Goodrich lineup, so we stepped up to the Michelin brand. So Michelin owns BFG, so we're still in the family, but phenomenal tires. These are the same tires you're getting on Corvettes and new GT350s and new GT500s. The tires are amazing.
Can I open the interior, show them that?
Oh, absolutely.
This thing isn't just pretty. He drives the daylights out of it.
Did a little bit of custom work on the inside. We actually, my upholstery guy that we work with, Tim at Auto Tailors, we actually matched the leather on the Recaros and made door panels, headliner, and we actually made kick panels just so that we wouldn't have that painted area there.
This thing is so sweet.
Designed a custom Rock Valley Auto fuel tank. We actually use Rock Valley's system in all of our Mustangs with Coyotes. We tried some of the cheaper systems trying to keep price point down for guys that want to do Coyotes, but what we ended up finding out was the vehicles didn't run as well, and because of all the return fuel, we were actually expanding the fuel tanks when we were using the cheaper systems. So these guys built us a tank for Mustang, and it's basically using the hot rod fuel pump out of whatever that hot rod Cadillac is. But the bitchin' thing about it is, because we do a lot of road course stuff, even with the truck, which is amazing, It's got twin pickups. So if you're way down on fuel and you're out on the course, you're not going to starve the thing for fuel, which was a big problem we had with the other tanks. Slosh fuel around, start stumbling. Everybody knows that's not good on an engine. So these systems work fantastic. They're not cheap, but they work great. And when we switched from the Jeep tank to these Rock Valley tanks, we picked up horsepower just by changing the fuel system.
That is awesome.
It's set up returnless as Ford intended. It's got a vaporwork system that actually reads the vacuum signal to know how fast to run the pump. So it works like it's designed to work with instead of with the return system. The other thing is I wanted this truck to be able to work. If I need to haul something, I want to haul it. I don't want to have to lift whatever I've got in the bed to fill the fuel. So we came up with this tricky little fuel fill over here. Blends in quite nice. So you just give it a push and a twist, and there's your fuel system right there. I love that little feature. I like
that you bedlined it too.
Yeah, you know, we like I said, I wanted to be able to use it, so we tinted the bed liner the same as the bed, or same as the exterior color, and did that. If you look underneath, the actual sheet metal underneath is painted. The wheel tubs and up inside here we did, for rock chip protection, we did bed liner, and we did bed liner on the bottoms of the aprons. But to me, when you bed line the entire bottom of a vehicle, you're saying, I'm hiding poor craftsmanship. So we don't like to do that. We like to put paint on it and show what it looks like.
There we go. Well, should we show them a little bit about what's inside the building?
Let's go inside. How about that?
Yeah.
Welcome to Gateway Mustang. Primarily, obviously, Mustang has been our business for many, many years. We've done a lot of cool cars. You can see over here on the wall, we built a car for Sammy Hagar. That was our first celebrity build. We actually went on tour with Sammy with the car and got to know Michael Anthony. So we actually ended up building. Well, we didn't build. We did some restoration work on a '69 GT500 for Michael's wife. That turned out really cool. That led to us doing a Bullet Mustang for Chad McQueen, Steve McQueen's son. Then we ended up building this car over here for the Darrell Gwynn Foundation, commemorating 50 years of NASCAR, 50 years of the Wood brothers being in NASCAR, and David Pearson going into the Hall of Fame. So this was basically a replica, a street legal replica of the car that they won the 1967 Daytona 500 with, where Pearson and Petty crashed just before the finish line. Both of them crashed together. Pearson was able to make it across the line first, and then they were so far ahead of the rest of the cars, they finished first and second after having crashed. So you don't get to see that kind of cool stuff in NASCAR anymore.
No.
Well, come on in here. Oof. This is the aforementioned Bigfoot number 4. Very iconic truck. Has done tons and tons of stuff. It was the first, what they called Stage 2 monster trucks, which meant it had a C-channeled chassis, not a reinforced stock chassis. It was the first monster truck to ever have planetary tips, which basically that planetary reduces the stress on the axle shafts. It also, when it was originally built, it had an all-steel cab on it, but over time they ended up with fiberglass stuff on it. But this was actually the very first snakebite truck that Colt Cobra piloted. So it's just done a lot of stuff, a lot of history in this truck, and we're proud to say that we're going to take it back to post-1990 crash in Nashville. If anybody's a Bigfoot fan, they know what we're talking about there. By the time they did that, they changed the suspension to where it had a lot of travel for a leaf spring truck. It's got like 15 inches in the front and 18 inches in the rear. Big, long, heavy leaf springs, but the truck worked well. It's one of the best working leaf spring trucks that was ever built. So just a really cool project. Kind of our fab shop over here, where we build suspension parts and anything we need to do. A couple of customer cars sitting around. Again, this is the Rock Valley tank that we were talking about earlier. We do make like I said, the 3-link suspension for the Mustangs. When we walk over here, I'll talk about some other parts that we make. This is actually a 65 to 72 chassis, and it has all of our Crown Vic installation kit already installed. This is actually, if you come see us on the road this summer, this should be at the events. This is going to be our display chassis. We'll have it rolling around with all our parts on it. Another customer car that we're putting some bare brakes on, giving him 4-wheel disc brakes. Actually has our strut conversion front suspension on it and our rack and pinion system for Mustang. All parts readily available through us. Gateway Performance Suspension, Gateway Classic Mustang. Look online. We've got them. All the stuff's on the website, even the truck parts. Little Falcon project we've been working on for a while.
Those wheels are
Blown Coyote in it. That was a trick to get all that to fit. Should be a really awesome car when we're done with it.
trick.
And then this is our newest suspension part that we're developing. This was actually the prototype for the system, and we will be getting these kits in the shop and be ready to ship these out hopefully within the month.
What are they?
So this is our Crown Vic installation kit for a 1957 through 64 chassis. So you're going to get the installation boxes, boxing plate front and rear, as well as the lower rear control arm mount.
What separates this kit from some of the other ones? That,
So what we did was, you know, with a straight axle truck, the frame is bowed, it's arched right where the Crown Vic needs to sit. That Crown Vic cradle needs to sit flat. So we developed our boxes where you're actually going to remove the top of the frame rail as well as the bottom of the frame rail, and the box is going to slide in there and become the flat area that this Crown Vic front end needs to sit on. We supply you with brand new Ford bolts and the nuts here, as well as the 6 lower control arm mounts. When you cut that lower frame rail out and put this box in, you're going to notice there's going to be a gap between the bottom of the box and the frame rail because the frame rail was arched. We're sending you a little filler piece to weld in there so that it's all, you know, you don't have a problem with any of that. I think we've pretty well engineered the kit out. Like I said, we're giving you a front boxing plate to go from the core support mount here back to the box, which the box is somewhere about in this area, and then we're also boxing in back to where the cab mount is, so that we're giving this lower control arm mount a good solid place to mount. And you'll also notice that we're giving you a little filler panel right inside of here, so that again that whole bracket is pushing up against the frame. It's not going to bow or anything like that. The other thing is if you'll notice, we've got locating tabs so that when you just basically push that flat up against the frame, that's where it goes side to side. We'll provide you with a measurement as to how far back it needs to go, but there's not going to be any guesswork in it. So we'll give you all the measurements and everything where this needs to fit.
Is that the only thing you're doing for the 57 and 64s?
It is not. We actually have motor mounts for Coyotes. That's for any of the Crown Vics. We have motor mounts for them. We also have a coilover kit for all the Crown Vic. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, we're selling good parts. We're not selling something cheap. We're selling good quality parts. We use JRI shocks and struts with all of our kits. If anybody's ever heard the name Ray Evernham, used to be Jeff Gordon's crew chief. He owns JRI shocks now. This is a quality, high quality shock, so it's not cheap. But if you want performance, this is the stuff to have. So it's not on here right now, but you can go to the website. But we've also actually developed the 3-link system for this chassis as well. So we'll be able to cover you from 1957 to 1979 short wheelbase rear 3-link suspension. What is amazing about the 3-link on a pickup, what's the worst problem with a pickup if you're trying to get any handling out of it? It's light in the back, yep. Right? What we have is our torque arm, these holes right here, this is where our torque arm mounts. The tail shaft of your transmission is going to be right here. Your cab's sitting right here. We're loading through this long torque arm. We're loading all the weight. That's where the weight of the vehicle is. We're transferring all that to the rear end. What's amazing about this torque arm system in the trucks, if you're fooling the rear of the truck into thinking it has weight on it, that truck will come out of a corner on a racetrack like a shot. I've had many Mustang guys, I'm not talking vintage Mustang guys, I'm talking late model Mustang guys, come up to me after a round on the track and be like, I could not keep up with you. Nothing makes me happier than to say, well, you just got your ass handed to you by a farm truck. The other cool thing that we do on our 3-link system is it has a watch link in the rear. What the watch link does is it becomes your roll center, and it also keeps the rear axle completely square in the truck. It doesn't move side to side. If you ever used a panhard or any kind of a panhard system where you're attaching to the frame and the rear end housing, what happens is if this, my shoulder is the chassis and this is the rear end, as I travel, I get longer. So that means I'm pushing the rear end sideways. So it's constantly traveling sideways instead of perfectly straight. What that does for you is it'll turn one way pretty well and the other way like crap because it's fighting itself. Also, you can get your tires really close to the quarter edges because it's not going to move side to side. It's going to track perfectly straight up and down. Just works fantastic. Don't take my word for it. Go on our website, see some of the things that people have said about it. We've had the president of Shelby American drive our truck on a road course. We've had Jim Owens, who is in charge of basically all the hot rod stuff that Ford builds, the GT350, GT500, Raptor. He's in charge of all those programs. He drove my truck, came out of it laughing, giggling like a little schoolgirl, saying a truck should not be able to do that. It's just a ton of fun. We've had a pro road course race driver drive our truck on several occasions, loves it. We actually set up a chassis for him and his dad with our products on it. They liked it so much.
Nice.
So,
well, if anybody wants to get
the one thing I want to add into this is, so what I've noticed and why we started pushing what we do now is you see guys posting on on Facebook, hey, where does this go? How do I know where to put the Crown Vic in my truck? Like, where do I know I'm supposed to put my box and stuff like that? A lot of these companies are building the product, but they're not giving you directions. They send you a box with tubes welded in it, no bolts, no nuts, no nothing, and say, there you go, put it in your truck. We give you directions because we started doing this. It's just guys having fun doing it. And you would order something and come in and you didn't know where something went or how it went in. Our directions are very, very detailed. Gives good pictures, they're colored pictures, they're colored directions. So when you get them, they're not just a black and white and you can't even tell what the picture is. It is a high quality picture so that you can see you need to measure from here to here to get this. You need to do this. And it basically lays everything out so that when you're putting this stuff in, you don't have to guess. Our 3-link is 100% bolt in. You have to do one measurement, and that is for your cross member, for your torque arm. You have to do one measurement. And I'm trying to figure out a way to make something that would go on the frame to say, here's where you drill holes. So we tried to make this simple because not everyone does this every day of your life. If they're building a truck, they probably do one truck ever in their life. So they want to know how to do it and not have to guess or not have to wonder where this part goes or how it goes. So we really stepped up what we think on our direction so that everyone knows where everything goes.
A couple of more points I want to show you everybody. Like he said, a lot of these kits you're getting with just a tube welded in for your bolts to go through, pass through. We've talked to Ford engineers. We work closely with those guys and we trust their opinion. So we've talked to Ford engineers. And we actually buy our threaded tubes from Ford. They basically told us, you can't just have a tube there. You have to have these threaded tubes so you're bolting through into threads here to keep that front end from sliding all over the place. They said if you just have tubes that the bolts can waller around in, this front end's going to move all over the place. Eventually that's going to fatigue bolts and stuff's going to start coming apart. So we provide you with tubes from Ford and brand new bolts and the nuts to capture the top brace.
And the other thing that's the bolts critical. Coming in here is there's 2 different torque specs. So when you run this bolt up, they tell you what torque spec to tighten that bolt. When you put your bracket that attaches here back on here, and then you put your nuts on there, the nut torques at a totally different spec. So if you're just running a bolt up there and then putting a nut on and tightening it down, you're not tightening it the way Ford designed it and engineered to be done. So you are basically putting yourself at a little bit of a risk. I'm not going to say that it'll break in a year. It might never break doing that, but you're still putting yourself a little bit of a risk.
Well, where can everybody get more info?
So you can check out our websites, gatewayclassicmustang.com and gatewayperformancesuspension.com. We have all the products are on the website. You can order right off the website, or you can call us and pick our brains for what we think is the best product for you. We also, you can, like I said, you can call us, you can email us, or you can just shop online.
By the way, he's old, so he forgets that you can go on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have all those things too, but he's old and doesn't use those. But we also do videos on YouTube, and we're trying to get more and more of that out on the internet so that people can see. Like, we did a video of how to install this stuff, and we have it out there. It's been going out for a while now, so you can always check those out.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed the tour over here. Me and Tim are going to hit the road a little bit, so we'll catch you guys in the next video.